be because I'm looking at the chat on a different window. If you want to unraise your hand, to check how to do that myself. If you want to unraise your hand at the top of the screen where you've clicked to raise it, I think you can click it again and unraise it. If I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll be told. But basically, if we don't worry about the raising the hands too much, just type it into the chat. I'll keep an eye on that. But there'll be a couple of points throughout the session where you can, well, we'll stop and use the chat together to share ideas and to share things, as well as having a little comfort break halfway through, because hopefully it'll blow your mind. So without any further ado, we'll start the session. So thanks very much. This is Implementing Computing. And to start off with, I thought it'd be useful just to so you know who's talking to you. Just to tell you very briefly about myself. I'm an assistant head at Waltleydale Primary School. I'm an AST with an ICT specialism. I used to work with Lancashire, going around and supporting schools, developing their ICT and using ICT outside the curriculum area of ICT. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Primary Pete with an underscore at the end. Very trendy. And I'm primarypete@gmail.com. So anything you want after this session, feel free to contact me, and can try and point you in the right direction of who might be able to best support you if it's not myself. I've also got a blog at primarypete.net where, amongst other things, the computing area gets talked about. So hopefully you'll be able to keep up to date with things that you needed to keep up to date with through there and through Twitter. Would you mind in the chat just briefly explaining kind of any area, any level of expertise you have within ICT? I'm assuming everyone's an ICT leader or ICT or computing leader. So anything you fancy sharing, or any, feel free. Don't be shy about levels of expertise. That's why we're all here. We're all learning. So yeah, just let us know if there's any particular areas that you are concerned about, or anything that you particularly want out of today's session. I know several people have filled out the survey, which is really helpful. So I will be coming to those things later on. New to computing, yeah, no problem. That's exactly right. Need to learn about new curriculum, no problem. EYFS, excellent. Well, you're in a great place to start off learning about this then, if you're in EYFS, the best part of school. Working group, ICT leader. So lots of people new to the role. Strange that, isn't it? Everything changes and then suddenly, oh, you can do this. And uni background, oh, maybe I'll just hand over to Brad then. Okay, excellent. That's fine. Well, what we'll do is I'll take you through the areas we're going to cover. Feel free to chip into the chat at any point, and if there's a natural break where everyone needs to talk about something, we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll break at the end of each of these separate sections. So today we're going to look at how ICT has evolved or been shifted to computing. We're going to look at how you can create a strong vision within your own curriculum area of computing. Try and take ownership of that yourself, and hopefully by the end of this session today, you'll have a clear idea about where you want to take computing, and you'll also be able to think about a way that you can provide those skills or provide the curriculum in a rich yet cost-effective way. And there's lots of pragmatic approaches you can take to doing that. And then the murky water of strategically planning for staff training needs. So making sure that you can actually get staff to the level you need them at, which may well include yourselves. I've been learning myself on the job with this as well. So it's new to a lot of people. Although, as I say, I've had a background in programming. I used to be a web developer, so I've had some development in this in the past. And also, if we get time, we'll have a little look at algorithms and coding and programming, which is where the majority of people start to get very scared very quickly, apart from Brad, who should be all right. And basically, we'll end it with a little bit of stuff about e-safety, which I know people wanted to know about, and any ways we can keep in touch so that you can not only contact and keep in contact with me, but you can also share anything you found useful with other people and like-minded people moving forwards with your vision and your direction for computing. So if everyone's okay, we'll start off with how ICT has evolved to computing. In the old days, the good old days, you used to have users of computers. So your children would be using the computer. They would be consumers. They would be actively engaging in things like Microsoft Word and making PowerPoint. So they'd be consuming the kind of the applications that are out there. They would communicate with each other. They might do that through email. They might do that through a learning platform. They would be digitally literate. It's a bit of a mouthful, but basically it would mean they are aware of the digital systems that are around. They are aware of how to look at those systems, but they are not yet critical about them. They are safe. They are being kept safe, or they used to be kept safe by filters, by staff explaining what was they should appropriate for them to be on the internet in particular. And the curriculum would often be a skills-based curriculum, particularly where you're going, okay, everyone, this half term we have to learn how to use X program, and here are some skills. We'll learn how to do those skills, and then we'll move on. Tick, everything's all right. Now, in computing, as you can see on the right-hand side, things have slightly changed. Instead of being users, you're makers, you are creating things. Same with consumers as well. You're turning these programs, you might be using these programs to actually create content beyond sort of a presentation, for example, and beyond word processing. The shift is very much away from being a kind of a dormant and passive child to an inquisitive, inquiring, making sure that they are fully understanding all the fundamentals of computers and technology in order that they might utilize it better in the 21st century. And we'll come on to that a little bit more later. One of the most interesting parts is under digitally literate to digitally critical. I told you that was a mouthful. And basically, it's just saying that rather than just being, again, passive, they are actively searching out and thinking, is this content correct? Not only on the internet, is this are these things safe for me to use? And again, under the response, being responsible rather than safe, the onus and whoever it was that wanted to talk about e-safety, the onus, the shift in e-safety, everything's pretty much the same, but the shift is definitely towards the children and moving us slightly away from, you've got a filter in school, that's okay. You've got systems in place in an e-safety policy, all that still needs to be there, but the responsibility lies more with the children now and engaging them and their parents and their wider school community to create a safe environment, but one where they take the responsibility and ownership for their own actions. And this is the big one for what we'll be discussing next, will be a move away from skills. Skills are still important, but it's that grounding and understanding of computing, computers, technology, anything to do with this subject. They have to have the understanding and the knowledge as well as the skills to be able to use those things. So, here's an extremely important quote. This is from the DFE in 2013. And basically, this links to what we've just looked at very well. And this is the core of what your computing curriculum really should be now. So this is the DFE telling you this. A high-quality computing education equips pupils to use computational thinking and creativity to understand and change the world. So the good job they're setting their sights high there. Now, creativity in this context is not just talking about doing something arty and making something art in a painting package. It's the children being able to come up with solutions to any problems or anything they're given that are unique for them that they haven't come across before. That's being creative for them. That's creativity in a nutshell anyway. But the biggest two words there to look at are computational thinking. Now, this is absolutely key because I've read documents that were freely available on the internet, and since then, Ofsted have taken their own documents down. But it did say computational thinking is really, really important in terms of when Ofsted come knocking at the door. Sorry, we're 3 minutes in, and I've already mentioned that word. Yeah, so computational thinking should form the backbone of a lot of your curriculum, which parts we'll look at later. But so we need to look at what that is, what computational thinking is. Broadly speaking, it can be split into 5 or 6 sections. The 5 I've got up here could also be added to with evaluating, and we'll look at that in a minute. The first one should be the most comfortable for you to think about. It's logical reasoning. You would mainly come across that in maths. So there's a little problem for you first of all. How many ways, just a light-hearted way to start us off, how many ways could Maisie explore that maze? And then we'll discuss why I'm asking you to do that in a minute. So if you could just pop it in the chat when you've worked it out, and then we'll talk about how you've worked that out after that. So just give you 60 seconds, that's it, that's all you get, to see how many different ways she can go from the start to the end, but she can only move forwards. Six and eight. One of them's right. 68, that's not quite right.